This morning, and I know that every officer who's here, I want to just say a special thank you, and we have officers who work particularly on neighborhood safety, and I'll give an opportunity to Chief Lee to introduce his team, but that's what we're here to talk about this morning. All across America, violent crime has increased, and sadly Harris County has not been immune to that trend. It's no secret what's driving that crime trend here and across America. It is the economic impact of COVID-19 and, of course, the gun violence epidemic. The neighborhoods that are being most impacted by rising crimes, by gun violence, are the very same neighborhoods that have long been ignored by public investment in the county, by private investment, by so many other institutions. I know this, and all of my colleagues on Commissioner's Court at one time or another have made the same point. Too often, blighted buildings, dark streets, unsafe and abandoned structures serve as incubators of crime and of gun violence. Places where families don't even have the benefits of a sidewalk to get to school, or even simple things like air conditioning or trees to find comfort in the oppressive heat of summer. Those are the places where the seeds of criminal activity often find refuge. We also know that infrastructure can affect quality of life. This is an opportunity to improve infrastructure, quality of life, and public safety at the same time. When decay isn't addressed, it perpetuates and it projects an environment of disrepair. It helps create the impression that these are areas where crime can operate with impunity. So today we're taking a new look at investments in infrastructure and building on the aggressive actions we've already taken to tackle crime. We're proposing an additional $50 million of infrastructure-related investments to clean up the streets in the county neighborhoods where decay and abandonment are driving violent crime. This program will improve street lighting, sidewalks, visibility in residential areas. It will address blighted and abandoned structures, restore vacant lots, implement other infrastructure investments and improvements shown to enhance public safety. It is called the Clean Streets, Safe Neighborhoods Initiative. We'll be smart in how we target these investments. We'll look at zip codes and areas most impacted by crime and most neglected by investment. And we owe it to the law enforcement officers and the communities we serve to put skin in the game, to have another tool in the toolbox that we can use to help them and help our court focus on violent crime. We know this type of smart on crime approach works. There are countless studies by the CDC, the Manhattan Institute for Policy Research, and so many others have shown that investments like these not only reduce crime, but save taxpayer dollars. According to a study in the American Journal of Public Health in 2016, for every dollar in remediating vacant lots or fixing abandoned buildings, we save up to $26 in other costs down the line. And I should note this would be a $50 million coming from our CIP or other sources. So these are sources for one-time infrastructure investments. We are not diverting funds from other areas, but this will be on top of what we're already investing. Already over the past 3 years, we've made historic investments in anti-crime and neighborhood safety initiatives. Since 2019, when Commissioner Garcia and I arrived, we've increased the budgets for every law enforcement agency, including the district attorney's office and every constable agency, by 13%. This brings the total funding for law enforcement in fiscal year 2022 alone to $966 million, almost $1 billion going to law enforcement. In addition to increases in annual funding for police, the county's invested tens of millions of dollars in additional funds just this year to target violent crime by addressing the backlog in criminal court cases, investing in smarter crime initiatives, issuing funding for law enforcement to focus on violent crimes, supporting efforts to promote gun safety. So we look forward to working with all our partners on these, and I hope that my colleagues on Commissioner's Court will support our Clean Streets, Safe Neighborhoods initiative. In Spanish, very briefly. Primero le quiero agradecer al comisionado Garcia, que toda su vida se ha dedicado a proteger la seguridad de la comunidad y hoy día nos acompaña para anunciar otra iniciativa creativa para atacar la tasa de crimen violento que ha incrementado en el condado Harris. Y finalmente, el asistente jefe de policía, Lee, quien está aquí con su equipo, muchos de ellos trabajan en temas de policía en los vecindarios. A través de todo el país la violencia ha incrementado, el crimen violento ha subido y lastimosamente el condado Harris no ha sido inmune a esta tendencia nacional. No es ningún secreto que está llevando a este incremento en el crimen. Ha sido las consecuencias económicas de la pandemia, la disponibilidad de armas de fuego, y la realidad es que los vecindarios que se han visto más impactados por la violencia armada, por el incremento de los crímenes violentos, son los mismos vecindarios que durante mucho tiempo han sido ignorados por el condado, por la inversión privada, por tantas otras instituciones. Yo sé esto, todos sabemos esto, y todos los miembros de la Corte de Comisionados han señalado esta misma tendencia. Con demasiada frecuencia, los edificios arruinados, las calles oscuras, las estructuras inseguras y abandonadas sirven como incubadores de crimen, de violencia armada. Sitios donde las familias no tienen ni siquiera el beneficio de una acera para llegar a la escuela, o cosas simples como aire acondicionado, árboles que cubran el sol, el calor. Estos son los sitios donde la actividad criminal suele encontrar refugio. Tal vez también sabemos que la infraestructura afecta la calidad de vida. Esta es una oportunidad para mejorar la infraestructura, la calidad de vida, la seguridad pública. Cuando no se aborda esa decadencia, ese deterioro en los vecindarios, se envía un mensaje a los vecindarios, se crea una impresión que estas son áreas en donde el crimen puede operar con impunidad. Por eso hoy estamos anunciando una nueva iniciativa, tomando otra acción agresiva para combatir el crimen, al proponer 50 millones adicionales de dólares mínimo para limpiar las calles en los vecindarios del condado donde el deterioro y el abandono están impulsando el crimen violento. Es la iniciativa de calles limpias, vecindarios seguros. Y cuando hablamos de la palabra limpieza, limpiar, nos estamos refiriendo no solamente a limpiar lotes abandonados, sino también construir aceras, instalar luz para que haya iluminación, y tratar de asegurarnos que haya suficientes árboles, que los vecindarios se vean bien, no sean un sitio donde el crimen pueda crecer y seguir incrementando. Este programa va a asegurarse que haya alumbrado público, visibilidad en áreas residenciales, abordará estructuras arruinadas, restaurará lotes baldíos, implementará otras mejoras que han sido demostradas mejoran la calidad de vida y bajan la incidencia de crimen. Y seremos inteligentes en cómo dirigimos estos 50 millones de dólares. Vamos a analizar cuáles son los vecindarios donde hay más violencia y donde hay menos inversión, las áreas que han sido más desatendidas por las instituciones en el pasado. Sabemos que este tipo de estrategia funciona. Han habido estudios del CDC, de centros de investigación como el Manhattan Institute for Policy Research y otras investigaciones académicas que han demostrado que este tipo de inversiones ayudan a reducir la tasa del crimen y además ahorran fondos públicos, dólares de los constituyentes. De hecho, hay un estudio reciente en el American Journal of Public Health, una publicación de salud pública, que dice que cada dólar que se invierte remediando lotes baldíos o arreglando edificios abandonados, por cada dólar que se invierte ahorramos hasta 26 dólares en costos a futuro. Estos 50 millones de dólares saldrían de fondos que tenemos para inversiones de infraestructura, inversiones únicas, y no desviaría dinero de otras áreas dedicadas a la seguridad pública. Finalmente, quiero recordarles que durante los últimos 3 años hemos hecho inversiones históricas contra el crimen. Desde el 2019, cuando el comisionado García y yo llegamos a la Corte de Comisionados, hemos incrementado el presupuesto para cada agencia policial. Todas las agencias bajo el condado Harris han visto un incremento. El incremento ha sido de 13% desde el 2019. El año en el que estamos hoy día, el año fiscal del 2022, tenemos 966 millones de dólares que se han apropiado para las agencias policías, incluyendo el departamento de la fiscal, casi $1,000 millones. En adición a eso, este año hemos invertido docenas de millones de dólares en otras iniciativas contra el crimen violento, incluyendo fondos para que la policía pueda tocar los crímenes más violentos y para atacar también la acumulación de casos en nuestro sistema penal. Entonces, seguiremos trabajando en esto. Espero que mis colegas en la Corte de Comisionados apoyen esta inversión y este programa de calles limpias, vecindarios seguros. Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, and let me just say that I'm excited about this initiative, and I want to thank you, Judge, for always looking for smart ways to make sure that Harris County moves forward and that we continue to keep our residents safe. So thank you for your leadership in this regard. And to the Harris County Sheriff's Office, it's good to see them here, Chief Lee, Captain Shelton. Thank you. People who risk their lives on a daily basis to keep us safe. But we've got to do what we can to make their jobs easier. In Precinct 2, this initiative is referred to as Revive to Thrive, making sure that we're revitalizing communities, not gentrifying them, but revitalizing them so that they can thrive yet once again, making sure that communities can be proud of where they live, feeling safe and secure where they live. You know, I've always said that in my career in law enforcement, that I got to see from the front seat of a patrol car where government had failed. And I've always said that if you want people to respect government, government has got to do things for the community when they do not expect it. And this is exactly what we're doing. This initiative will focus on those fundamental things in our community that will bring safety and security to the forefront, making sure that parents can once again feel safe to let their kids play in their front yards, making sure that we can walk because we feel safe and secure, making sure that sidewalks, a fundamental thing like a sidewalk, exist or is not in disrepair. These are all the elements that come with Revive to Thrive. Street lighting is one of the key essential elements that make communities feel and be actually safe. And these are one of the things that we're working to do. So I'm excited about this. This is contemporary. This is contemporary for Harris County. Who would have thought that the largest county in Texas would just begin to focus on this? But I'm proud because of the leadership that you bring to the table, Judge Hidalgo. Smart ways to keep our community safe. Investments. People, you know, we do a lot of community engagement. People are always asking, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? This initiative and Revive to Thrive are all examples of us being proactive with our work, paying attention to those details that will help make people feel safe once again. And on a closing point, Judge, you know, I always tell people that where I grew up was a tough neighborhood where tough things happen. And I remember a constant conversation amongst my peers at the time was, I can't wait to get out of this neighborhood. That is not what we want any young person to say today. And so I'm excited about this. This will, again, help to revitalize communities, not gentrify them, but allow them to thrive as they did one day, and to see that day come back again. Gracias, Jueza Hidalgo, gracias por el liderazgo, siempre buscando modos inteligentes para avanzar nuestra comunidad y nuestro condado. Este esfuerzo en el precinto 2 lo llegamos a reconocer como Revive to Thrive. Esto es como lo estamos haciendo, invirtiendo en las vecindades, asegurando que la comunidad tiene pasos para caminar seguros, luz, invirtiendo en las vecindades como la gente siempre espera y merece. Y también yo he dicho que durante mi carrera policíaca, yo he visto por el asiento de mi patrulla donde el gobierno ha fallado. Esta es una oportunidad para recordar que estas vecindades con un poco de inversión pueden nuevamente tener una vida brillante. Y para terminar, yo siempre he dicho que en la vecindad donde yo me creí, era una vecindad difícil, donde cosas difíciles llegaban a suceder. Y dentro de mis amigos, en la conversación casi siempre era, no puedo esperar de salirme de esta vecindad. Eso es algo que yo no quiero que un joven hoy llegue a decir nuevamente. Por eso esta inversión es importante, esta estrategia es clave y me da gusto que el condado de Harris está nuevamente dando liderazgo a los condados alrededor de los Estados Unidos en cómo mejorar la comunidad y cómo mantenerlos seguros y sanos. Gracias, Wesa. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Good morning. I'm Assistant Chief Mike Lee with the Harris County Sheriff's Office, and I'm joined here this morning with Captain Tommy Shelton, Lieutenant Willie Hodge, Deputy Charles, Deputy Cheatham from our Neighborhood Policing Division. We're here today to discuss the rise of violent crime in our communities and solutions that could reverse this trend. First, let me say that I'm extremely grateful to the county judge and the entire Commissioner's Court for standing with law enforcement and for continuing to invest in proven approaches and viable public safety strategies to prevent and respond to crime. With their leadership and support, we have implemented multi-pronged solutions to better serve the residents and to continue gaining insight into the unique needs of each community. Our community problem-oriented policing deputies, two of which are to my right, they spend their time getting to know the businesses, the schools, the houses of worship, and the neighborhoods in their area. It's one of the various units that make up our neighborhood policing division. Collaboration is central to the way we lead, and this division addresses quality of life challenges through problem-oriented policing methods, outreach efforts, and empowering our most vulnerable neighbors with the support to help them overcome barriers to success. It's about using community policing to help drive down crime and enhance our quality of life. We know that we can work together to reduce crime and calls for service by improving neighborhood conditions. We know that hotspot areas tend to attract bad actors who are motivated to commit crimes. We know that certain blocks or apartment complexes are known for large, unruly parties, loud music, prostitution, or a place where drugs are bought and sold. We know that removing that abandoned car, addressing that vacant lot, cleaning up that unkept park, and painting over that graffiti can enhance public safety. We must do our part to make important decisions about the conditions to discourage these bad actors from becoming part of a neighborhood's identity. We must do our part to provide protection to the residents that live there. In all these efforts, the goal is to get involved before a crime takes place, to act before a crime erupts or a crisis erupts. The reality is, law enforcement agencies cannot be expected to conduct crime prevention all by themselves. Applying the principles of crime prevention through environmental design helps spread the responsibility of crime fighting across the community. Working together, we can design our environment in a manner that can lead to a reduction in the fear of crime, the incidence of crime, and to an improvement for the public safety and quality of life for all in Harris County. Community is all about the idea that we're all in this together. That's Harris County at its best. That's good police work. Let's keep pushing our county in the right direction toward being a good neighbor, toward partnering to prevent crime. Thank you.
No.
We'll take any questions.
Judge, when do you expect this to, in real time, start happening in our neighborhoods?
Well, we have to first pass the investment today, the at least $50 million. Then it's a matter of a county administration working with the various law enforcement agencies and experts to assess, what is the ultimate amount? We said at least 50 million, how many neighborhoods, and figure out the formula to prioritize neighborhoods, because we want it to be fair. We don't want it to be about who has a friend downtown. So I would say in the next few months, we should be able to see this getting off the ground. Obviously, we want to be quick, but we also want to be thoughtful.
¿De dónde salen estos fondos, pues?
Bueno, tenemos un fondo que se llama el Capital Improvement Project Fund. Es un fondo para inversiones únicas, o sea, no personal, por ejemplo, que hay que pagar el salario año tras año, sino inversiones de infraestructura. Entonces, estamos viendo ese fondo y otras posibilidades, otros fondos que ayudan, normalmente son designados para inversiones de infraestructura. Es por eso que esto no va a tomar fondos, pues, que irían, por ejemplo, a salarios de los policías.
¿Puedo hacerle otra pregunta?
Adelante.
No relacionada. Una reacción acerca de la prohibición del gobernador a los mandatos de las vacunas el día de ayer, pues sobre todo cuando hablamos de empresas privadas.
Bueno, he trabajado como directora de manejo de emergencias durante mi mandato como juez del condado. Y algo es muy claro, cuando es un momento de desastre tenemos que actuar. Esto para mí es como si el gobernador me dijera a mí que durante un huracán no puedo emitir una orden de evacuación. Como si le dijera a un dueño de negocio que durante un huracán no puede evacuar a las personas que están dentro, que puedan venir a ese negocio. Si hubiera, por ejemplo, un huracán, un tornado, algo emergente. Entonces, realmente creo que es un ejemplo de la política muy claramente frente de cualquier decisión de manejo de emergencias. Me preocupa, sabemos que las vacunas funcionan, sabemos que los mandatos de vacunación funcionan y lo estamos viendo hoy día. Los impactos de la pandemia han llevado a este incremento del crimen. Entonces, todas las personas que quieren que baje esa tasa de criminalidad, que ya los hospitales regresen a la normalidad, que podamos salir de esto de una vez por todas, debemos estar a favor de las vacunas y además, pues es un país libre, hay que darle opción a los negocios privados que puedan tomar sus decisiones.
Can you repeat that in English, Judge? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the English issue, if you could respond in English.
So that was a question about the recent decision to prohibit vaccine requirements by private businesses. And look, in my role as county judge, I'm the director of emergency management. And I have seen when it comes time to an emergency, we need to act. We need to act together. This prohibition against vaccine mandates, it's like as if the governor were telling me that I can't issue an order to evacuate the coastal areas when a hurricane is barreling toward us. Or like as if the governor was telling private businesses that they can't ask people to leave when a tornado is coming their way. Right now, we continue to be in a public health crisis. We know that vaccines work. We know that vaccine mandates have been shown to be effective. And I think it's a very transparent example of a political impetus standing in front of public safety. We're talking about crime today. The increase in the economic impacts of COVID are impacting the crime rate, is what's leading to all of this. And so folks who want to see that crime rate go down, who want to see our hospitals return to normal, who want to get past this COVID-19 crisis once and for all, we need to support vaccinations, get vaccinated, and just recognize that this is a crisis. This is not an issue to play politics with. So I am concerned, I'm disappointed, and of course private businesses should be able to issue these mandates. I commend the businesses that have done so because they're helping us make a difference in our community.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Thank you,
See you
Commissioner.
shortly.
Yeah.
Guys, good to see you all. Likewise. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Judge, thank you, man. Thank you.
Jamie, good job, man.
Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work.